And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that duct tape from times gone by, as we have our next series ready and waiting for you. As we just wrapped up, or we just casted Trigger versus Wayne, and Wayne advances on to the quarterfinals. And here we are to determine who faces off against Wayne in said quarterfinals. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Solaris, we have the South Korean Terran player, the ESL Masters Summer runner-up. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Australian Protoss caster, Twitch streamer, YouTuber, content creator, at times player as well. It is PiG. Gonna be playing as Protoss. So PiG did let us know as we were going into this series that, I mean, he does typically race pick or even play random, but against GuMiho, PiG is going to be playing Protoss, and I am ready to see how he does. Again, shout out to PiG, of course. He does play in every single ESL Americas. He does typically compete, and then he casts after his tournament run does end, and already GuMiho is going to be spicing things up here with a proxy Rax, because of course he would, because it's GuMiho. He is ready to make a show of it, Papi, as the probe is going to be coming in for a bit of a scout, going the long way around, to bear that in mind. Second probe going to be, okay, just going down that expansion on the low ground as well. Probe scout is going to confirm that the Rax is missing, that it is not at home, it is elsewhere. Where is it? Out of the map. Oh my, Proxy Marine? Proxy 111? Yep. As soon as I saw the Marine, we can proxy the factory as well. We are. So GuMiho, he's going to be putting on a show. He's looking to have some fun. He, of course, is ready to, are we going to go proxy Cyclone? With this reactor, we can set up an add-on swap here. I guess it would make more sense to just pump out Marines and make one Cyclone at a time, but I'm ready to see what the hell happens. Oh my god, I don't know if my body is ready for this. As back towards the top right, we do see PiG going to be going for a Zealot first, just because of course he knows he's being proxied. He wants to make sure that nothing too crazy does occur. And there is the add-on swap. We are going to be getting into those additional either double Hellion production or double Cyclone production here from GuMiho. There it is. Cyclones are on the way. And PiG is about to be introduced to the new Cyclone. Oh. He's going to be going for a Robo follow-up, so a very safe opener. Very safe here from PiG. He's assuming that he is being cheesed the hell out, and he is. So, again, a very good assumption and good reaction here from PiG. With this Robo, he can get into Immortal production as well, as he is checking the map. He's scouring the edges here, looking for where that proxy could be, and eventually he will come across this factory. Back at home is the starport, so not a proxy 111, just a proxy 1-1, really. And it looks like the Rax has been spotted. We have spotted the Cyclones as well, and GuMiho is going to be pulling the trigger, sending out his Cyclones. First Adept is going to go down. Immortal just now on the way, but we have one Stalker remaining, and against these Cyclones, the Stalker is going to struggle here. Zelt as well does not get a swipe off. PiG has one unit to defend, has the one Stalker, and I mean, he's going to be able to get some damage done, at least on the Cyclones, so we have two more Cyclones on the way. This is snowballing out of control. Immortal will come out. The Immortal is on the way, but we are now up to 4 Cyclones, and the Stalker up will fall. We get on top of the Immortal as well. We are going to be able to trade out, though. We do manage to take down one of those Cyclones at least. But only one, and this is just a little bit too much. This is getting out of hand. Even with this Stalker coming out, we can see GuMiho respecting it, does pull back in time. Overcharge going to barely keep that Stalker alive as well for a little bit longer, but oh my god, it's barely saved. But it will go down, and so will the Nexus. Behind this, we're just continuing Cyclone production. GuMiho not losing, he's only lost one Cyclone so far. He's getting on top of the mineral line, taking down these workers. Behind this, Banshee production is commencing, getting into Cloak. Working towards those Cloak Banshees. GuMiho has no chill. He has no chill, Bobby. Pig's like, yo, let's play. It's gonna be fun. And then GuMiho's like, yeah, it'll be fun, all right. I'll enjoy myself. Not like this. As the pylon on the low ground is going to be going down. Likewise, the Banshee making its way across the map as well. And Pig is just contained to one base. Unfortunately, there's no detection. So essentially, all that GuMiho has to do is just bank up his Banshees, wait for Cloak to finish up before pulling the trigger, going into a mineral line, and just wreaking havoc in the main base. Even going for the scan, taking down another one of those stalkers, and GuMiho is just waiting to pull the trigger. There we go. Cloak is done. There is 0 detection, and workers will be going down. Observer now being chronoed out here for Pig. Everything is pulled into the main base. GG, well played against Cold, and GuMiho will take game number 1. GG. And I mean, we knew how this series would go, but GuMiho, I feel like he's enjoying himself a bit too much here. He's GG, well played, able to pull off the proxy factory here, the mass cyclone. Unfortunately, Pig wasn't fully aware of what was going on. He had a good reaction overall to, you know, get his Zealot first, of course, get into Immortal production as well. But alas, he was just pulled apart by GuMiho. It was a little bit too much to overcome when it comes to the control and the amount of DPS, the sheer amount of DPS they did have available. When it comes to what Pig maybe could have done, it's also a bit of a shame that unfortunately the shield battery was really far back. So because of that, Pig couldn't be as proactive when it came to saving his natural base. His natural was very exposed, and you know, was very exposed to the elements, exposed to the cyclones of GuMiho, and Pig just couldn't really vie for control. It was also a shame as well that Pig did get his first unit caught out. If you remember, his first adept did go down out of the map. So yeah, it was a bit of an uphill battle to begin with for Pig, as he did bleed out a couple of units early on. And those early on units, they matter so much more because you're limited, right? You have like 3 units. He had 1 Zealot, 1 Adept, and 1 Stalker to defend, and he lost the Adept and Stalker immediately. Sorry, the Adept and Zealot immediately. So it's like just snowballed out of control. Regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations to GuMiho for taking game 1, and now we get into game number 2. Oh. Gonna be getting ready for our second game. I did see a couple of people asking about Wayne, and yes, we did cover Wayne earlier, and we will be covering Wayne after this series as well. Once we wrap up GuMiho versus Pig, the winner faces off against Wayne in the quarterfinals. That is the direction that we are going in, and the series that are before us. Outside of that, I do have news that I believe Bjorn and Solar did start their series, and I think every other caster dove on that. I think Artosis, Chicken Man, I think Zombie Grub as well. Like, everyone's covering Bjorn versus Solar, and I don't blame them. You know, it's a solid series, but I'm happy to stick with this. I'm happy for it. How does Protoss hold this? Don't build a natural. I do think that you just have to respect it a little bit more. I say respect it a little bit more. Be a little more conservative with your first couple of units and build up your Stalker count before you can really start dancing with those Cyclones. We saw that GuMiho did to put some credit to GuMiho, right? GuMiho, he did a great job at diving on those individual units very early on to make sure that basically Pig never had an army, right? He never had more than 1 Stalker. Like, I know that he had, like, I want to say 3 or 4 Stalkers at the very end, but at that point he already lost his natural, right? So it's something where you do have to preserve your units and build up your units really early on, and use your Nexus HP like a resource, right? Where the Cyclones may be chipping away at the shields and even the HP of your Nexus, but you want to be using that to buy some time to build up your forces to be able to actually have something to control against your opponents. You may have to pull the boys as well to eventually vie for control of your natural. So in the end, that's kind of, I would imagine that's the approach that you want to take in that situation. Instead of just going in too preemptively and too prematurely and bleeding out your units early on. But regardless, as we get into game 2, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the Australian Protoss. The Australian Protoss player, I mean, Australian random player rolling as Protoss. Typically a caster, but here as a player, it is PiG. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing himself, as well as the land of South Korea and Terran. It is GuMiho, leading the series 1-0. As chat is catching up. Yeah, I imagine I'm getting a scout off as well to actually recognize what was happening. That's also why I shouldn't harp too much on PiG losing his first couple of units, because if you remember, he was caught out and he didn't quite know what was happening, so he didn't know that there were cyclones on the map to be afraid of, to be wary of, to pull back to. So that was also another moment that, of course, was a little bit unfortunate for PiG. We get into our next game. And so far, again, thankfully the Rax is back at home. The Rax is back at home. We're not going to be cheesing, we're not going to be proxying, but we are on Golden Aura. And for those wondering, Golden Aura has a very short rush distance by ground, so GuMiho can be looking to snowball out of control in the mid game instead. Are going to be going for a double gas opener with a delayed CC on the low ground. Reaper gets across the map and is going to be dipping into the natural to get a read on what kind of tech we're going for. PiG going for a robo opener once again. Okay, so initially in game one, a robo opener made sense against Cheese because it is a very safe way to react. But here, opening up with robo once again, this again feels very safe out of PiG as well. So gonna be respecting GuMiho quite a bit and completely aware that GuMiho is willing to go all in and willing to be hyper aggressive. Now, the reason why I call this a defensive opener is because with a fast robo, you can get into fast immortals and fast colossus alongside them as well. The downside of going for a robo-based opener like this for PiG is that it does delay, or it does mean that you don't have any map control. So you don't have any Phoenixes, you don't have any Oracles, you don't have any Blink Stalkers to actually Viper control the map and actually be aggressive across the map and contain the Terran opponent. So basically PiG with this opener is relinquishing map control in favor of just being defensive and secure. Speaking of, we do see GuMiho moving out across the map with his 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions. He's going to be rushing past the first Stalker and going for that mineral line. PiG going to try to react here. He does pull the workers away, but a lot of workers already falling down here. 5 probes, 6 even. Soon to be 7, and thankfully this will be cleaned up without getting any more damage done. 7 workers though, well worth it for GuMiho. A solid start for our Terran player. From the side of PiG, there's that first Immortal on the way. We should be... Oh, no, actually, he cancels the Immortal and goes for a War Prism. I do appreciate this. I do think that PiG, he recognizes that he took a little bit too much damage. I wouldn't be opposed to him throwing down another, maybe even 2 gateways to go up to 3 gateway aggression and get across the map and try to do some counter damage. This is something that you can do with robo-based openers, is instead of rushing into Immortals, you can be a little bit more aggressive with War Prism instead. And that's exactly what we're doing. There's that Bay on the way for eventual Colossus production. But again, PiG, he knows that he has to do some kind of counter damage. He has to be in the face of his opponent in some way. Observer gets caught out. Drop is soon to hit the field. And this is a really tough decision here from PiG, because again, he wants to be active, he wants to move out, but he also knows that there's a drop out of the map as well. Speaking of it, GuMiho building up towards his 2-1-1, soon to be 3-1-1 setup. Medevac comes out and he's already hitting the field, already moving out. And this is where this War Prism isn't really going to be too impactful. This Prism could have been an Immortal, right? We could have had a stronger ground army for PiG. He took a risk making this War Prism, and he's going to pay the price for it, because here we go, GuMiho has arrived with his tanks already. Oh. Okay, the tanks, they shell away at the army, getting closer and closer here to the natural base. Overcharge putting in a lot of work, but the Stalkers are going down. There's just too much DPS with these tanks. Even the Overcharge cannot keep these Stalkers alive. So you see GuMiho going to be rotating towards this third base, and this third base should not finish up. The Immortal comes in. Good juggling with the Immortal, but the Stalkers, they do go down. One tank does fall, but the Prism as well, and everything is going to fall here for PiG. GuMiho is snowballing out of control. He will break the third base, and the natural soon thereafter. PiG, he's still working on another Immortal that will help here in the defense. He will lose his third. He at least killed both of those tanks, or at least, sorry, one of those tanks. Two tanks. So at least some of the DPS and some of the momentum is gone here from GuMiho. But after that scan, GuMiho, he can keep on pushing. He can keep the pressure up, yeah, and he's going for it. Going right for the juggler, right for the kill. He does not have a disable available, but he does have an auto turret if he needs to throw it down. Oof. Behind this, GuMiho is getting his third base on location. Again, GuMiho is snowballing out of control. PiG, he is mustering up a decent army here. Unfortunately, because of the late Twilight Council, there is no charge. Immortals, they try to push in, but the Concave is looking strong here from GuMiho, and Stim is about to finish. Now with Stim, GuMiho doesn't even need the tank. He can just Stim on forward and fight this army head on. There it is. Stim is now done. A second tank going to be rocking on up as well. PiG going for a ninja base. Bold move here from PiG. Now with the second tank, we can slowly leapfrog forward here. Force our ways into the natural. Charge is still on the way for PiG. Is being chronoed. We do have a disruptor. We do have some Novas. They will be available, and here we go. We just Stim one forward. The Nova goes off. We'll connect with the tank. But that is all that PiG had left. He does focus down one of those tanks. But GuMiho, again, he's able to break on through, get on top of the Immortals, get on top of that Disruptor. And this entire army of PiG is going to fall. GG, well played gets called, and GuMiho takes the series 2-0, advancing on to the quarterfinals. GG. GG, well played. Again, GuMiho just spreading his wings a little bit here in this series and having some fun in game 1. Here in game 2, more of a straight up build, but just a little bit unfortunate with what PiG had happened to go for. And yeah, he was just, again, relinquishing map control, especially on a map like Golden Aura. At the beginning of the game, I did mention, of course, that Golden Aura has a very short resistance by ground, so you can be very aggressive with your pushes as a Terran, well, as any player, whether you're Terran, Protoss, or Zerg. And GuMiho was taking full advantage of that, just starving PiG out, choking him out when it came to containing him to 2 bases and pushing on further from there. GG, well played. Well played to GuMiho as he advances on into the next round, where he has his opponent ready and waiting. It is going to be GuMiho versus Wayne. Let's go.